Okay, here we go. We are on another Friday Love Your Liver live stream, folks. Thank you for coming. I am Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective around these YouTube parts. And what we go over today here is the connection between all sorts of toxins in our everyday lives that we don't know about, that we're told are good for us or essential, but are really mostly just poison and toxic and ruin lives as we know it. These things including things that people don't realize are poisons like vitamin A in all its forms, and the toxic metal known as copper. So we're going to cover that stuff. There's lots of people out there promoting these things as healthy. Poisons have effects. Never forget this. Caffeine gives people energy. It seems like it gives people energy at the start, and it makes them more tired over time. This is just one example from your everyday life. So let's head into a couple things. What I wanted to go over first was for those of you who are into this approach, good for you, and you're trying to spread the word. And this is not an easy word to spread because it's so far out there. And as we saw with the pokies and the face diapers and all of this, a lot of people are very easily influenced by the mainstream, which is the opposite of what we're doing. So here is one person's approach. This is Angelica on the on my Love Your Liver network, a kind of a private little social network education thing that I do, which is we've got about 1,100 people in there all working together on their health, and we get super helpful things. She posted this the other day, and I just wanted to read it because I thought it was a great example of how you can help lead people in this direction by showing them when they do these things to themselves that they feel bad. And so they can start connecting it in their brain that when I do this, I feel bad. You know, that's how we train dogs, right? When they do something right, we show them, hey, you feel better. You know, you get a treat. And when they do something wrong, that you don't reward them. Or like when people do things that make them feel bad, you can kind of just point it out and say, hey, how's that working for you? So let's go into it. So wanted to share this. So this is a quote. This is quoted. Wanted to share this anecdote. A lot of people here ask about how to bring up vitamin A toxicity to family and friends, and I thought I'd share. So here we go. I started dating my boyfriend about 7 months ago, and he is learning about vitamin A toxicity and copper toxicity from being with me and seeing how I navigate foods and my health. It took him a while to understand I'm not being picky. I just have to avoid these foods. He sees the effect that copper toxicity has on me and has spent a lot of time running baths for me and massaging my back as I detox this copper. When we met, he was vegetarian and felt very guilty about eating animals. I have tried not to control what he eats or shame him. He has slowly learned about copper toxicity and how this is more of a risk with vegetarian diets, not because I lecture him or constantly bombard him with info, but because I talk about myself and talk about being raised vegetarian and talk about the symptoms I get from copper toxicity. About a month ago, he decided to add meat back into his diet after reading about copper toxicity with me online. We were reading about it because I was heavily detoxing copper and trying to find other helpful strategies to manage it. He made this decision himself with no pushing from me. I was very sensitive to how much he cared about animals, so I really did not put any pressure on him. He also started taking zinc and stopped taking fish oil. Those are good things generally. All he needed was the information without the shame/judgment/pushing/pressure. My mantra to myself was, quote, it's his body and his decision, and I have no control over him, end quote. I think taking that attitude really helped. So obviously, I'm feeling very happy that I don't have to worry about copper toxicity down the road with him. Well, we could say, let me just add something. This is an aside. He's probably already copper toxic. It's just you don't have to worry about worsening it, which is the good thing. And generally, if you're not worsening it, it's getting better. So anyway, moving on. Quoting again, vitamin A is the next frontier. He luckily loves beans and eats them a lot, but he also loves spicy foods and hot pepper. Capsicum, for those of you other places than America. I would loosely say that he is addicted to hot sauce and spicy food. So I know I have to tread carefully because I think this will be an even larger mountain to overcome than his feelings towards animals and being vegetarian. My approach and my suggestions to others is to never lead with vitamin A is not a vitamin, like I do here. But anyway, and instead talk about the known toxic level of vitamin A, the ability to easily get more than that amount in a day, and the high vitamin A foods that get us there more quickly. My boyfriend learns about this through me when I talk about my food choices. For months, I did not talk about his food choices at all or how much vitamin A was in his food. I would simply say, oh, that's too much vitamin A for me. I'll get a headache. Or I can't do Italian food because tomatoes and cheese are too high in vitamin A for me. He is slowly retaining the information on what foods are high in copper and is still learning what foods are high in vitamin A. The other day, he went to get Thai food with his friend. They asked what spice level he wanted, and he said 7. I'm assuming that's out of 10. He called me from the car and was like, I couldn't finish the meal. It was too spicy, and now I have so much pressure in my head. I told him, oh no, babe, intracranial pressure is one of the symptoms of vitamin A toxicity, and hot peppers are some of the highest vitamin A foods. I said this not to shame him or get him to shun vitamin A. Sorry, something popped up. I just wanted to give him an explanation for what was happening to him so he has all the information. And he was like, oh, yeah, shoot, vitamin A, I forgot about that. Because he is so used to loving spice and tolerating lots of spice, it's a part of his identity. I also told him about how I discovered my own vitamin A toxicity when my chiropractor sent me a research study saying vitamin A toxicity causes intracranial pressure, raised intracranial pressure, that's pressure inside your head, which I had for 7 months after being sick and using lots of cayenne pepper to get better. I told him how I went low vitamin A around noon one day, and the next morning the intracranial pressure was gone. And I left it at that. The next day he said he threw out the leftovers, and luckily his intracranial pressure was gone by bedtime. The next time he orders spicy food, I am not going to warn him or parent him about it. I'm going to let him use his own memory and critical thinking skills to figure out what he wants to do with his body. But this anecdote is simply to illustrate that people respond a lot better to simply hearing information rather than being shamed or pressured. I pressured my mom a while ago and it did not go well. She does eat way lower vitamin A, but this approach has been a lot more harmonious for me. It also is important to not add to my own stress because I'm worried about what my loved ones eat. I take on the attitude of I share information and they are in control of their bodies. So, little anecdote there. I'm very aggressive in my approach here because that's how movements get started. They don't get started wishy-washy. But when you all are trying to kind of pull your loved ones in because you're doing so well and you want to share that with them, different approaches need to be. You know, the more they think that they're figuring it out, the more they come along. The more you tell them what to do, they don't. So I can tell you, I have family members who will follow me to the edge of the world and back and do whatever I ask. And I have other family members who, well, they're not family members anymore, technically, who don't do a damn thing I say. And if I say to do something, they do the opposite. And it's not going well. We'll put it that way for them. So anyway, now we're going to go into a little study. Down in the notes for this video, there's a link and there's some text from a study. Let me find that. The name of the study, this is about how high-fat diets destroy, decimate, obliterate the bifido population in your gut. Now, some people think that high-fat diets are it, and how could everyone not do this? It makes us so healthy. If you've gotten benefit from it, it's a temporary thing, and it's going to end sometime, and it's going to end strongly and badly. I hate to tell you this, that's what's going to happen. Why can you not go back to eating other ways after keto or high-fat diets? Because you've ruined stuff and you've broken stuff in your body. Can it be fixed? Yes. Is it long? Is it quick and easy to fix? No. I want you to think about this. Because a lot of keto and high fat, low carb and high fat carnivore, you're eating fatty animals, folks. Fatty animals. That's how you get there, right? Lots of animal fat. Do you think of fat people as a healthy state? I would say generally no. Do we think of wild game as probably being healthier than whether it's grass fed? I mean, think about it. Grass fed is like the equivalent of, let's say you take a human and they eat a bunch of, they're just eating and eating and eating and sitting on the couch. Like that doesn't mean they're necessarily like, you ever seen a Mexican cow? I remember driving through Mexico as a child and seeing the cattle, and you could see all of their ribs. Okay. And these cattle were just living out on the scrub brush. They were just eating what they could out in the desert. And you could see their ribs. You think that's a fatty cow? No. So if we don't think that excess fat on humans is healthy, whether it's because of laziness or whether it's because of accumulating toxins in that fat, if we are what we eat, why are you trying to eat fat? The backup energy storage. You get it? Like, where in the world, other than the Inuit, who are well known for getting vitamin A toxicity, high-fat diets are not natural anywhere. You know how hard you'd have to work to get a high-fat diet if you were eating all whole foods? Whole foods. Anyway, the name of the study, 1963, studies on the studies on the composition of the fecal flora during a long-term nutrition experiment with high carbohydrate, high fat, and high protein diets. Okay, 27-year-old male. They put him on these different diets. What they found was it reduced the amount of Bifidobacteria drastically. If you go into the link, I linked the entire PDF study. I linked the abstract on PubMed, and I linked the entire study in the notes here, okay? Here's the abstract. During a long-term test with high carbohydrate, 104 days, high fat, 81 days, and high protein, 51 days diet, the pH, total germ count, and bacterial composition of the feces of a healthy test person have been determined. The different types of wait, for all you alkaline nutters out there, alkaline diet nutters, the different types of diet did not have any influence on the pH values. They're talking about of the poop. I reduced the enterococci and anaerobic in favor of Bacteroides. High carbohydrate diet stimulated the anaerobic lactobacilli and suppressed Bacteroides. High protein diet showed no changes as compared with the normal diet. Now, the thing you need to know, people are, where's the Bifido? They used to call, oh, sorry, I didn't finish the, wait, no, I'm sorry. There was also a note that, let me find that note. I want to say it right. Before the 1960s, Bifidobacterium species were collectively referred to as Lactobacillus bifidus. So in this study, when they say Lactobacillus bifidus, they're talking about what we talk about now as Bifidobacterium. So no, I didn't make a mistake. Science changes terms. Like when they try to confuse people by calling it retinal instead of retinaldehyde, because they want to hide the aldehyde. They want to hide that dopamine in your brain turns into dopaldehyde, so they call it dopal. And they take off the There's no need for them to shorten it, right? It's scientific terms. Why are they shortening it and taking off the part that tells you it's an aldehyde, which everybody can look at and go, oh, that's not good? Why would they do that? Interesting. So anyway, if you go in this study, which is linked in the notes below this video, you will find figure 2. I'm going to hopefully maybe this week, I'm going to get a live streaming software or run it through a website so I can start putting these images up for you guys. I'm overdue on that. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, if you go in that paper and you look at figure 2, I believe it's the bottom right graph, which is the high fat diet, and you look at the Bifidobacterium and they're just crushed, just at the very bottom in terms of the count. So, yeah. This is why when people often try to come to my program, the Love Your Liver program, and they try to start, let's say, eating beans, and they absolutely do not tolerate them at all, is it that they genetically or whatever don't tolerate them, or is it as we fix their gut bacteria by slowly moving them towards eating proper carbohydrates? Beans are not the only one, they're just one. And possibly they start supplementing some bifidobacterium to put it back in there. And definitely they get on lactoferrin. If you have not seen the best lactoferrin on the market, that's over in my store at nutritiondetective.com, made from fresh milk, not whey from cheese making byproducts. Okay, like everything else out there. Lactoferrin has been shown to greatly increase bifidobacterium. Now, here's an interesting thing for those people who would say, that the high fat diet is natural. Do you know that babies, when they're born, have the highest amounts of bifidobacterium that they're probably ever going to have in their lives? And it's mentioned in research studies that as we age, bifido counts steadily go down and down and down and down in our lives. What do we eat? What do most people eat, to use a technical term here, a metric shit ton of in their lives? These days they eat fat like it's going out of style. It's such a weird coincidence. Weird. Your gut bacteria live on what you feed it. Maybe bifido likes carbs. Just a thought. So, let me get into the questions now. I mean, I've had people where and I'm not a big dairy supporter, but I've had people where we start fixing their gut and all of a sudden they can tolerate lactose again. And your gut biome, for those of you who are like obsessed with your gut biome is ruled by your bile. I've been over this before. Let me see if I can find that paper real quick. Let's see if I have this one. Okay, here we go. Get this link, and then I will read that part to you. Your gut biome problems, whatever your leaky gut and your toxic bile. Your leaky gut and your what are we talking about? Geez, your gut biome, your leaky gut and your gut biome are controlled by your bile. So if you've been doing everything other than working on getting rid of that toxicity out of your gut, and nobody ever talks about that take glutamine, that'll fix it, and marshmallow root. No. I've actually never seen anyone really truly fix themselves with those garbage leaky gut protocols. They're garbage. They're Band-Aids at the best. Got to take 10 grams, 20 grams of glutamine a day. That's not natural. That's the biggest Band-Aid I've ever seen. So let's go over this little line. These results suggest that bile acids act as signaling molecules outside of the enterohepatic circulation, and consequently, modification of the bile acid composition by the gut microbiota may represent another mechanism by which the gut microbiota influence host metabolism. So the gut microbiome modifies the bile. This affects everything in the system. Now, let me see. I think I have another one here. Let me see. Where is it? I got to highlight this one so I don't have to look again to find it. Oh, I also have a bunch of research here showing high-fat diets cause leaky gut. Let me check this one. Dietary fat-induced taurocholic acid promotes pathobiont expansion and colitis in IL-10 mice. That's an interesting one. Um, let's plug that one in there, and then we'll just move on from this one. You want to think of your toxic bile, as toxic, and you want to think of it as kind of like hot lava, and it damages everything it touches. And it's not supposed to be in your blood at all. At all. You are not supposed to have bile in your blood. There's no point for it to be in your blood. As they said in that paper, is it signaling inside your blood? Yeah, it's causing all sorts of problems. That's signaling. That's like the scientist politically correct speech for it's like it's gonna mess shit up. Signaling. Right. So, moving on. Let's get to the questions. So, Betty asks, can you talk a little bit about cancer and how your approach can help people with cancer? Can't be with you live, but we'll be sure to catch your comments and share them later today. So I don't have protocols for any specific condition. And some people are like, wait, what? What? You don't have protocols? No, we have principles and concepts. I'm going to be very real here about the cancer situation. First of all, as a naturopathic doctor, I am not permitted to say that I treat cancer at all. I am allowed to state that I provide support to people with cancer, especially as they go through the conventional cut, burn, and drug approaches. That's what I'm allowed to say. So nothing I were to mention here should be implied as treating cancer, because, you know, if the cancer were to just go away somehow, well, that's just a lucky accident. Unicorns and rainbow farts and all that. So y'all need to realize this is something very important. This is a different theory of cancer that I'm about to share with you. Cancer is, so people want, the war on cancer, and we're going to fight cancer, and we're going to kill cancer, we're going to attack it. Cancer is your own cells. Now, some people would say they've gone rogue. Do you actually, are you of the opinion that your body is that stupid and that self-destructive? I mean, that you can believe it. You can believe whatever you want. Let me challenge you with this idea, though. What if cancer is an adaptive response by your body? What if your body, based on the specific toxicity profile that has been shoved into it by choice or by accident, doesn't matter how the toxicity got there, your body has become, let's just say the body has become overwhelmed with a specific pattern of toxins. Okay? So the body starts creating, so let's just say the liver's full of poison. It can't store any more of that poison. And if the body fat can store it too, the body fat's like, we can't store any more poison here. So what can the body do as an adaptive, intelligent response? Because I believe the body is intelligent and it is doing the best it can with what it has in every single situation. A lot of counseling is big on that idea too, right? People do the best they can with the tools they have. Well, I'm going to say your body's doing the best it can with the tools it has. And let's say people don't have any idea of what the toxin is they're putting into their body. I don't know. They tend to find high copper levels in cancer tissue as one example. So your body starts making extra storage containers. Like when you have too much stuff in your house, what do a lot of people go do? They go and they buy a storage room, or they rent a storage room to put more there. And if they got too much stuff, I had a family member when they passed, they had 3 storage rooms full of crap. Cancer starts in one place, and then it spreads to another place, and then it spreads to, is it spreading? Or is your body simply saying, we need to make more storage areas for this, because if this gets too high in our blood, it's going to kill us. The body always picks the slow death over the quick death. Smart, right? quick death, you're dead. Slow death, you got a fighting chance. And what if, let's say, people started taking out the source of the toxicity? Let's say they, either by accident or purposely, they took out the incoming source of toxicity. They could get better, right? Now, let's just say, you know how I said that there's not supposed to be any toxic bile in your blood? Well, let's just say that, I think I went over this in another live stream, the toxic bile in the blood is the exact source of the toxicity that is reaching the other tissues, the breast, the prostate, the brain, the liver, coming back around. Well, what if, let's say, modern medicine had ways of shutting down the bile coming out of the liver? What are things that cause fatty liver that are used to treat cancer? Radiation, chemotherapy, carrot juice, retinoic acid, all sorts of toxic things that cause fatty liver. Fatty liver is your bile getting backed up in your liver because you're taking things or doing things that shut it down. Oh, I forgot high dose vitamin C, IV vitamin C, like even taken by mouth is not enough. IV that shit. Let's shut it down. This is what they're doing. It's not fixing anything. You know this. And what happens, so those of you who have known people with cancer, they do these things and they're like, oh, it's in remission. Oh, it went away. And what happens later? Whatever they were doing or taking, the effect eventually stops working as strongly as they need it. What happens? The problem comes back, and the problem comes back worse, and it goes to more areas because the toxicity root of the problem was never dealt with ever. So here's the thing about my approach. Sometimes we suppress things. Sometimes in medicine, you have to suppress things to weather the storm and get through it. Like I've said before, if I get hit by a bus and I go to the hospital, like, juice me up with atropine and epinephrine and get my heart going again. And, you know, I really don't want a blood transfusion, but if I got to get one, keep me alive, I'm going to pick the slow death over the quick death. Keep me alive. And then as soon as I'm able to get up, get me the hell out of that death box they call a hospital. So, my approach, these concepts and principles is not the quick fix. Sometimes when people are truly fixing the problem and they go to their doctors and they see their labs, their doctor says, your labs are going in the wrong way. This is the wrong thing. Do doctors cure cancer? Do they? Or do they really just postpone the inevitable? I mean, even those of you who think that like vitamin C is the fix to cancer. I mean, Linus Pauling, he did live till 91. He had prostate cancer. That's why he took all that vitamin C. You know what he died of? Take a wild guess. Prostate cancer. He didn't cure it. He did live a long time. Now, let me tell you something about him living a long time. People who have a strong mission live a hell of a lot longer than people who don't have a strong mission. I truly believe this. It's like, you know, those ornery old men who seem to live a lot longer than they should? They're pissed off about something. They got some sort of mission that they're working on. I'm not saying being angry is good. I'm saying if you got a mission and you got something to live for, you're going to live longer. Find your mission. I got mine. I definitely got mine. And if your mission, ladies, is to be a homemaker, I salute you. One of the most important jobs on the planet. So, nothing wrong with that. But anyway, back to the cancer thing. The doctors will freak out because the lab markers are going up as the person is feeling better. What should we do? Should we abandon the approach? They're feeling better. their expression of their health is improving. I mean, you could always compare that to a radiation or a chemo person. Oh, your numbers are going down. This is very good. And the person's like, I feel like shit, doc. How much longer is this going to take? And they're like, but your numbers are good. And then we have people who come to me. I'm feeling so much better. I feel better, but my doctor says my markers are going up. And I'm like, if detox is real, the same shit that made you sick, when it's coming out of you, might make your blood look a little worse. It's called detox. If, it happens. If you want to listen to the lab markers of the guys who don't fix the problem, they just shove it deeper into you to explode later. Or if you want to look at mine, it's a different approach. It's going to take longer. It's going to require, somebody who is very, very toxic is going to require much more diligence. This is not the easy way out. This is the hardest way out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to give the answer. And if you want to do it on your own out there, and if you think I figured out a lot of stuff here, I figured out a lot of stuff in about the 4 years I've been doing this now. You can go and make the mistakes that I made, but somebody who's in as deep a doo-doo as cancer is, you don't have time to make those mistakes. You don't have time to make a huge mistake like where, for those of you out there, I did this. I was reading the literature on vitamin A and how to move it around in the body, how to move it out. And I actually read the vitamin A. I'm an experimenter. I'm open-minded. I actually read the vitamin A research in that I thought that because alcohol moves vitamin A out of the liver into the blood. And I thought this was good. I thought this was forwarding detox. And there's other people out there who I've seen later who are doing this very same thing. And so I was actually doing like I was doing a shot of alcohol in the morning, 1 shot, and 1 shot in the afternoon, because I thought it was going to help. I actually think I retarded my progress by about a whole year doing that stupid shit. I've made the mistakes. Don't go and repeat them. We have all it in the Love Your Liver program. I've already told you, I'm here because I've made the mistakes. I'm okay with admitting it. Everybody who's here who's sick has made stupid decisions. The problem is that some people are out there continuing to make them, promoting vitamin A and copper. So anyway, we are working on the root. So I don't really have a protocol or a specific approach to cancer. It's the same approach. It's the same approach for all of it. What I do, so there's the Love Your Liver program, which is kind of the do-it-yourself program, but all of my clients who are active clients of mine doing hair testing and blood testing get access to that for life. The individualization comes in my testing and consultations. That's where I get to say, you should have more of this. You should have less of this. You should definitely do this. Oh, you should focus on getting enough potassium. That's when people tell me their symptoms at the start of their issues, their presenting issues at the start of a consultation. I want to know those so I can tell them, here's the part of the program you really don't want to screw up. Don't mess up on this area. This is the most important area, but there's the general concepts and principles, and then there's the customization. Okay. So Outside asks, could zinc supplementation worsen PCOS? I'm going to answer this question in the best way I can. PCOS is absolutely copper toxicity. Absolutely. No, and probably vitamin A too. I don't know if I've connected those in the research yet, but PCOS, ladies, when you have menstrual problems and problems with your gear down there, you're copper toxic. That no one can even begin to tell me otherwise. I see it every day on tests. Could zinc supplementation worsen PCOS? Now, here's the deal. Certain copper antagonists will stir up copper. Where does copper store in the body, especially other than the female reproductive organs? In the liver. If you start taking copper antagonists, the biggest ones that tend to stir up copper, zinc, molybdenum, lactoferrin, taurine. If somebody were taking those, and different ones affect different people differently, right? So I'm not here being some idiot blogger saying that this does this in everyone and everyone should do this. No, I don't say that. I'm levels above that. We're into an individual, an N equals 1, as they say in research. You are an N equals 1, and you are your own experiment. What science says, a study showed this, really they're saying that the majority of people had this response. That's kind of, if you simplify it to that, they're going, well, there's probably more of a 50% chance that you're going to have this response. It might have been a higher percentage than that, but really that's, if you simplify it, they're saying most people felt this way. Okay. Are you most people in that situation with that mineral, with that approach? Maybe not. So, zinc, molybdenum, lactoferrin, taurine can stir up copper. If you have PCOS, you have, to use the technical term again, a shit ton of copper stored in you, in your liver, in your female reproductive organs. You take too much zinc, you're going to dump it out. Zinc displaces, think it comes in, boom, and knocks the copper out of its spot. In the long term, this is good. In the short term, you might make yourself feel like hot garbage. So what should you do? You should take less. Find the amount that doesn't cause that reaction. Get below the threshold. So could it worsen? Think about it. If I'm going to tell you that your PCOS symptoms are caused by copper, and you go and you take a copper antagonist, and the copper that was stored away, your body's trying to hide it from the system. Just like we have storage rooms in our houses where we put all our crap that we don't want everybody else to see when they come over. Right? Or the garage. Call it the garage. Call it a storage room. Whatever. You put all that stuff there because you're like, I don't want everybody to see this. Your body does this with copper. Well, you go in and you take zinc, and it comes and it pulls that copper out for everybody who visits your house to see. And it's ugly. This is how zinc could be perceived to worsen PCOS, but it's not worsening it. It's you're just pushing too hard. The biggest thing I say on my live stream, or not on my live streams, in the network to people go, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I don't feel so good. And I go, slow the heck down. Chill out. You're pushing too hard. It's always the newbies. It's always the newbies. They come in and they're just raring to go. And they're like, I'm going to do every single thing he lists here. Every single thing. I'm going to start right today. And I'm like, don't do that. That's going to end badly. I have a whole video in there on how to add and take away foods and supplements. And I talk about one thing at a time. Don't jump to the top of the dose right away. Start at the lowest dose and move up. Geez, it's crazy, like intelligence in medicine. Going, this might be good for you, but if you take too much, it might not. So, Allison asks, is there a connection between gum disease and vitamin A? I had gum surgery in 2020, but I also have several crowns too, replaced the mercury fillings the past years. We're going to have fun with this one. I went and I looked up some research on this right before we were going to do this. So, oh, not that one. I don't want that. Let's move that to the end. Okay. So we're going to go through a couple papers. Case study here first. Now, there's going to be people out there, all you vitamin A and copper pushers, You're going to say, well, I have this short-term study here in little cells, just a one cycle of cells that shows that retinoic acid, retin-A, and Accutane are the things that they add to these cells. If you think vitamin A turns into Accutane and retin-A in your body. Oh, alitretinoin too, 9-cis-retinoic acid, a chemotherapy agent. Your body turns all the vitamin A you eat eventually that gets into your system, it turns it into those. This is not debatable. Are you actually going to sit there and argue that, well, I think natural Accutane is better than synthetic Accutane? Are you seriously kidding me? The same science that discovered these compounds is the same science that isolated these compounds, is the same science that duplicated these compounds, is the same science that measures these compounds. If a chemist cannot tell the difference between the two compounds, your body can't either. Scientific literacy is important. Using your brain is important. Please do it. Do not believe these liars on the internet who don't present evidence. I've presented evidence that all vitamin A is the same. If you're talking about the exact same form and the exact same dosage, whether it's from cod liver oil, whether it's from liver, whether it's from a crystalline powder that was synthesized in the lab, if you get the same form and the same dosage, it's the same toxicity. There is no difference, which makes sense because it's the same compound. No one out there saying natural vitamin A is different than synthetic vitamin A in the body can present any evidence at all. They are liars. They are making shit up. It's fairly simple. I present evidence. They make shit up. So, here's the case study. Clinical manifestations of hypervitaminosis A in human gingiva, which are the gums. Okay. Periodontal inflammation. So gingiva is the gums. Periodontal is like the gums, basically, too. Periodontal inflammation caused by excessive doses of vitamin A was studied in a patient who had taken 200,000 international units daily for more than 6 months. Clinical manifestations of the disease disappeared when the use of vitamin A was interrupted. It went away. Too much poison caused a problem. It went away when they stopped poisoning themselves. Now, I'm going to tell you, his liver's still full of vitamin A after this. The liver's still absolutely full, but could he reduce the amount of vitamin A that's in his blood that's getting to your gums? Are your gums full of blood? Why do you think they're bright like magenta? You know, reddish, pinkish, whatever. That, you know, and when you get anemic, they turn white because there's not enough blood there. What do you think was bringing the vitamin A to the gums? Oh, the blood. So let's go to another one. This paper, all trans retinoic acid inhibits the osteogenesis of periodontal ligament stem cells by promoting interleukin 1 beta production via NFK, I think it's kappa beta signaling. Anyway, let me put this paper in there. Periodontal ligament, that's what holds your tooth in place. Okay? What is it? The periodontal ligament, commonly abbreviated as the PDL, is a group of specialized connective tissue fibers that essentially attach a tooth to the alveolar bone within which it sits. Periodontal ligament is what holds your teeth in. Okay? Let's see. Let me just read the line here. Taken together, our results demonstrate that ATRA, all trans retinoic acid, which is what they call retinoic acid in the research. When you just see retinoic acid, they're talking about ATRA, or all trans retinoic acid. Okay? Taken together, our results demonstrate that ATRA disrupts the osteogenesis and mineralization of periodontal ligament stem cells by promoting IL-1 beta expression via activating NFK beta signaling and NLRP inflammasome, whatever that is, which may offer a new method for improving the ATRA-induced disruption of osteoblast differentiation. Retinoic acid, the same thing that the bioavailable copper people out there are saying you need to make ceruloplasmin, which I proved wrong in one of my previous live streams. So they're saying you need retinoic acid to make ceruloplasmin, which is wrong. But then we're showing here that retinoic acid disrupts the periodontal ligament. So the bone, tons of studies have shown that, I mean, there's studies out there that have shown that more than 3,000 units, I believe, 3,000 international units of vitamin A day worsens osteoporosis. Bone is falling apart. And this study here is showing that the periodontal, the ligament between your tooth and your gums, cannot properly make new bone, osteogenesis, osteobone genesis, creation of, and mineralization problems. Gosh, I know the Weston A. Price people love to talk about mineralization of teeth, and I'm sitting here showing them that their cod liver oil, vitamin A, and their dairy vitamin A, and their egg yolk vitamin A, and their liver vitamin A screws up the mineralization of the mouth. Let's continue. So some of the bioavailable copper people love to, and the copper revolting people, something like that, they like to talk about don't use copper antagonists. So here we have a paper called Zinc in Etiology of Periodontal Disease. Etiology is the development of. Okay? So zinc in the develop. This does not mean that zinc is part. It means the role of zinc in the evolution or development of periodontal disease, gum disease. Let's read this one. Accumulation of zinc in liver and their copper and ceruloplasmin production also elicits increase of copper and decrease of zinc in gingiva. So did you remember how I said that the zinc kicks copper out? And then it sends it other places. Don't do that. Sends it out too fast. This is just scientific evidence of what I say is going on. The elevated level of copper in connection with zinc deficiency in gingiva, the gums, causes the increase of permeability, leakiness, of gingival gum epithelium surface for bacteria. The stimulated inflammatory infiltrate produces more interleukin 1 and the vicious cycle is complete. The elevated level of copper. Hey, let's take in more copper, folks. Notice how they don't talk about bioavailable copper. They don't talk about copper 1. They don't talk about copper 2. They just measure all of it. The elevated level of copper in connection with zinc deficiency. Okay, wait. So there's people out there saying never, ever, ever take zinc. Never, ever, ever. Get more bioavailable copper. Do you think that would be a recipe for this disaster to happen? So we just showed that vitamin A messes up your mouth. Now we're showing that copper messes up your mouth and zinc deficiency messes up your mouth. The elevated level of copper in connection with zinc deficiency in the gums causes the increase of permeability of gingival epithelium for bacteria. Now, let's go into another concept here in natural medicine. That this is taught in naturopathic schools, this is taught in many holistic schools, that your skin reflects what's going on inside your gut, right? Because your skin turns into your gut, in your mouth and in your butthole, right? Your anus. You're like one of those like jello-y things where it's like it turns in on itself, right? You can stick your fingers in the ends. You're like one of those. Your insides flip over on your outside. So your skin is your outside gut. And your gut is your inside skin, right? And it's said that if you have skin issues, it's reflecting your gut issues. What do I say comes out of the liver that is like hot lava and touches your gut directly? Oh, it's bile. Okay. So Vitamin A is toxic, causes bile problems. Vitamin A is a chemical peel. Do you know that they use all trans retinoic acid as a chemical peel to melt your face skin? It's called a yellow peel. Look it up. In the research, they say they use it to induce a controlled wound of your skin. And they just said that copper increases the leakiness of your gums. Copper induced leakiness of the top layers of your gums. And do your gums, like, do you see how they're connected to your intestines? Like it's all the, are you following me here? Everybody's worried about leaky gut. And I'm sitting here telling you, here's how it's caused. And here's the things that make it worse. And here's the things that make it better. Oh, let's keep going. Here's a paper. Allergic response to copper. Its possible gingival implications. I want you to think about that. When people tell you that you just read allergic reaction to copper. If you're allergic to, if copper was a truly essential nutrient, if you were truly allergic to it, what do you think would happen to you very, very quickly? You would die. You would die. You constantly having allergic reactions every second of every day inside your blood and inside your tissues, you would die. You cannot be allergic to something that is essential to you. I'm beginning to think that allergies are simply toxin responses. Want me to blow your mind here? Seasonal allergies. What color is a lot of pollen? Just curious. What color? Does it tend to fall in a certain spectrum? Like yellowish, orangish? What color might that be related to in plants? Oh, vitamin A. Go type in pollen and carotenoids on PubMed. Have a fun little search. I'm not going to find the links for you because they're just so easy. So what if you were constantly breathing in something that is toxic into your sinuses and your nose, and your body was like, this is toxic crap. I'm going to try to create ways to get it out, like sneezing, like creating tons of snot and phlegm, and we're going to get it out any way possible. We're going to cough, we're going to sneeze, we're going to blow our nose, we're going to runny nose. Do you think that might be a toxin response by your body? And it's not allergic. Allergic is a medical term for victimization. Like, I'm being victimized by my own body. They're turning your own body against you. Modern medicine is victim mentality, genetic stuff, epigenetics, all that stuff, victim mentality. Your genetics don't matter if you stop putting the poison in. People be like, well, I have bad genetics for vitamin A. Then stop putting in the poison. That's the only solution. It's the same solution as everybody else. If you have bad genetics, you might have to be more strict. Okay. Okay. If you wanted to get somewhere on a road trip faster, you got to drive faster. Well, my car can't drive that fast. Well, then you're going to get there when you get there. This is the real stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty much of the mind now that seasonal allergies are a vitamin A reaction to the carotenoids in pollen. Let me find another one here. Oh, a case of an allergic reaction to a copper amalgam filling. Okay, do you know can you imagine they used to put copper amalgam? I mean, it's bad enough they do mercury, right? But are they trying to seriously kill people? They're going to put copper metal in people's mouths? Copying the wrong thing. There we go. Copy. Boom. How can you have an allergic reaction to something that is essential? And if somebody's gonna be like, well, it's the valence, it's copper 1 versus copper 2. You can't be allergic to one and not the other. It's a metal. It's like when people go into the hospital and they inject them with like contrast dye and they have a reaction to it. And they're like, you're allergic to iodine. And I'm like, you're allergic to the poisonous stuff they pump into you in the hospital. Have you ever looked at pharmaceutical ingredient lists? There's like 40 things in that. T3 and T4, your thyroid hormones, the 3 and the 4 are indicative of how many iodine molecules are on the hormone. If you were allergic to iodine, truly allergic to iodine, you'd be dead. Your body would attack all your thyroid hormone and your thyroid. You cannot be allergic to something that is essential for your survival. Your body is not that stupid. You could be allergic to toxins, though. So, moving on. So, yes, there's a connection. Janelle says, my eyes are very sensitive to the sun. Does that relate to vitamin A toxicity? Quite possibly, yes. I'm going to try to move through these now a little faster, but yes, quite possibly. Generally, I would say the more sensitive people's skin and eyes are to the sun, the more toxic they are in certain ways. Now, that doesn't mean, let's say you folks out there who have darker skin, you're like, well, I can go out in the sun and just lay out all I want and I don't burn. That doesn't mean you're not toxic. It just means it's not manifesting in that way. There's different ways that it manifests. Okay? Just like when people get colds and the flu, it doesn't look the same in every person. Right? Different people have different symptoms. It's supposedly the same thing, but they have different symptoms. Different people show up their toxicity in different places and different ways. This is the problem with those health bloggers out there, is they want everything to just be the same. Everything from this is this way. And I go, no, nope. If only medicine were that easy. The confidence of amateurs is the envy of professionals. The next question, Janelle asks, can using magnesium oil every day for years cause you to feel tired? Too tired? Okay. If people get symptoms from using topical magnesium, that is typically indicative of a potassium deficiency. Magnesium is a small bit of a potassium antagonist. There is a specific balance that we want to keep between potassium and magnesium. Now, on that note, people inside the Love Your Liver network are really, really, really enjoying the new recipe for Magahol, diluted Magahol with potassium added. For those of you who don't know what Magahol is a combination of a clear liquor like tequila or alcohol with magnesium chloride. It is absorbed even better than regular magnesium oil, but nobody can sell it because you can't go selling people liquor with magnesium in it. You just can't. So people got to make it at home. But what I figured out was I diluted it some and I added some potassium to it, and it works. I've basically solved every single problem that people have with magnesium oil in that mixture. Some of you are going to go out and try to make it on your own. Good luck. Hope you get the proportions right. But if somebody was using lots of magnesium and it was making them feel tired, I wouldn't say necessarily use less magnesium oil. I would say you need to figure out your potassium. Want to know the most important thing I tell people every time I have a consult with them? Figure out your potassium. Stop screwing around. Don't ignore this. This is the thing that you can fix today that can have a huge impact in how you feel. The biggest symptom of potassium deficiency is fatigue. Now, what things deplete potassium in the system? Well, vitamin A blocks potassium channels so it doesn't move in and out of the cell like it's supposed to, which could make you feel deficient, even though your blood test might look just fine because it's in the wrong place. Somebody's delivering a package to your house, but it can't get through the front door to get in your house. It doesn't matter if they delivered it, right? It's not in your house. It's not where you need it to be. Right? Things in the wrong place are problems. Copper toxicity depletes potassium. Talk about that here, don't we? Some of the big things that are in common between copper toxicity and potassium deficiency: fatigue, anxiety, depression, irritability, trouble falling asleep initially at night, heart palpitations, racing mind. We might be just, some people are just going, oh, I got that, 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 I got that. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. I don't necessarily need a lab test to tell you what's going on. What was the last thing? Oh, vitamin D supplements. Let me go find that paper just because people like to question me, which is fine. Renal potassium wasting induced by vitamin D. Does it get any more straightforward than that? Wasting potassium out of your kidneys by taking vitamin D. I believe the study was in mice or rats. I don't remember exactly. But there you go. Copper depletes potassium. Vitamin D depletes potassium. Vitamin A blocks potassium channels, so your potassium can't get to where it needs to go. So you tend to look and feel deficient, even though everything may look fine. And then if you layer a ton of magnesium on top of that, you could start showing potassium deficiency manifestations. So the solution is fix the vitamin A toxicity, fix the copper toxicity, never take vitamin D supplements or try to eat a bunch more vitamin D by mouth, get your potassium right. And what happens is and also fix your zinc, because zinc is an antagonist of copper and vitamin A. So as we people who work with me fix their zinc and they're avoiding these poisons, and maybe at the start they need a lot of potassium to feel better. What am I going to say? A lot is go in the Love Your Liver network, because I think I have 4 articles written on just the potassium topic. People think that this Love Your Liver network is some like little joke. No, there's like 23 sections in there and 12 videos, and it's not some little joke. And then I'm doing my inner circle and my advanced detox videos. After this, I go and I'm going to record answer questions. I can be a little bit more controversial and a bit more experimental in my ramblings inside my network. You know, YouTube only allows certain stuff. So anyway, and then over time their potassium needs go down because we're fixing the cause, the root cause of the problem. We're not worsening it with adrenal cocktails of toxic carotenoid, vitamin A, orange juice, and cream of tartar. We moved way past that. Cream of tartar, the tartaric acid in it, people, if you're doing that and you're wondering, I don't feel so good on this cocktail after a while, it's because the tartaric acid is, here's what I did. I used it for a little while. I used the cream of tartar for a while with people for potassium. And I started noticing people were coming back going, I don't know about this. I don't feel so good. And I started just watching the patterns and I went, okay, we're not using this anymore. Potassium bitartrate is cream of tartar. So that means for every potassium molecule, you get 2 tartaric acids. Okay. Do we want that much tartaric acid? The thing you can never forget about mineral supplementation is there's almost always the mineral, and then there's what it's bound to, which has activity. You cannot separate the two. I have people now who are saying they're kind of sensitive to chlorides. Too much salt, too much magnesium chloride, too much potassium chloride. They're like, I don't do so well with all that stuff. And I go, okay, well, we're going to have to find you other options. Do I tell them that they have to take it or they get off the program? No. We search for other options. Maybe they do all food. Practitioners who make you fit their approach suck. You don't have to fit their approach. There's when you do something with concepts and principles, it's adaptable, it's moldable, it's workable. When people have protocols, you're stuck because they don't have a lot of think outside the box solutions for you most of the time. So Matt asks, hi, Matt. Matt and I have known each other a long time. We used to be basketball buddies way back in elementary school. So it's good to have you around, Matt. Matt's asking, besides topical magnesium and thiamine, which is B1, what is best for muscle soreness? I'm going to be a little joking here, but don't over exercise. That's a big one. A lot of the muscle soreness, I can tell you that now, as far as I've come in the program, there was periods of time where, oh my gosh, my flanks, which is not quite the lower back muscles that most people think of, but my flank muscles, like the lower back to the outside, used to be so stiff when I was dumping a lot of toxicity. And I believe that was showing that the kidneys were being strained. They were working hard. Over time now, I hardly get sore at all. But so excess calcium in the muscles will cause stiffness, soreness, cracking, popping, slow recovery. Calcium slows down everything. That's what it does. Think of what it does to the water system in your house. It clogs up everything. Eventually, hard water clogs up everything. It slows everything down. It makes your water appliances break. So what do we do to fix excess calcium in the system? Don't take vitamin D supplements. Avoid vitamin A. Get your topical magnesium. Fix your zinc properly. Get your sun to tolerance level. The more toxic you are, the less sun you're going to tolerate. And then the other thing that I tend to tell people is slow down. Slow it down. You're pushing too hard. You're dumping bile, which is good, but you're also dumping too much of it back into your blood, which is causing you symptoms elsewhere. Exercise is what I call an agitator. It stirs up bile. This can be good. This can be bad. Long term, as we get healthy, getting rid of bile, all the agitators are thought of commonly. In the past, they were all thought to be very healthy things. Nowadays, when we have all these sick people, they go, I'm trying to exercise and I feel like garbage, and I try to get out in the sun, and if I'm out there too long, I feel like garbage, and I'm trying to do this and it just makes me feel worse, and it's supposed to be good for me. People today are too toxic. So when they try to do these things that agitate or dump bile, they get too much bile in their blood and they feel worse. So being that I work with the context of individuals, I tell people, they'll say, well, how much sun should I get then? How much exercise should I do then? We'll go back to the doc. It hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. It doesn't mean don't exercise and don't get sun. It means figure out the amount that doesn't cause more problems. This should make sense, right? We're like, well, let's say somebody had a zinc deficiency. Oh, for the PCOS question, let's say I'm working with somebody and we look at their labs and they have a zinc deficiency. Okay. We're going to talk about, foods that can help raise zinc. The best food for raising zinc is red meat, but not everybody tolerates red meat. So I had a client, she had lots of copper toxicity and lots of we were weaning her off of medication, and a lot of her symptoms were mental, emotional, anxiety, depression, stuff like that. And she told me, and so I was talking to her about zinc, and I said, you just got to try. She's like, how much should I start with? I was like, you can start with this amount, but if it doesn't work, you're going to have to go down. She listened to me. She listened very, very well. Excellent client. She figured out that when she took, so most zinc supplements, the smallest like pill zinc supplement is like 15 milligrams, 15 milligrams. She figured out She said, I tried this dose. I didn't feel good. She came to my office hours, which is my twice weekly follow-up for my active testing and consultation clients inside the network. What other doctor gives you the opportunity to talk to them twice a week, included in your package? Seriously. She came and we were troubleshooting. And I said, you're just going to have to go down until you find the dose that works. And you may not even have a dose that works of a supplement. She figured out that she did really well on 1 milligram of zinc a day. I'm going to tell you, there's zinc drops out there. 1 drop is like 2 milligrams. So this woman figured out that 1 milligram made her feel a lot better. 2 milligrams made her feel worse. So if she asked me, well, which should I try to do 2 milligrams? No. Do 1 milligram. You feel better on it. You feel worse on 2 milligrams. Doc, it hurts when I do this. Then don't do that. This is a super complicated philosophy, right? And now over time, she's now able to tolerate 2 milligrams more often. And she's doing better and better and better. I don't care what the doses of zinc she takes as long as we're moving in the right direction. I don't do protocols. Protocols are for stiff minds. My mind is very flexible. Let's see. This one's easy. I thought I heard Bart K mention in an upcoming discussion with you on vitamin A and copper toxicity in one of his recent videos. Will you be doing a video with him soon? If so, I look forward to it. Yeah, Bart has invited me on his podcast. I'm excited to talk with him about it. And yeah, so that is coming up. I don't remember the date off the top of my head. I just show up and hammer these things out. Fridays are my big media day. So Arnab asks, isn't stomach should be acidic? So why everyone hyped about alkaline? So actually, this was a big thing in my. So this is just a way of thinking about it. Like the one of the practitioners, one of my med school teachers, he said one of the biggest problems in the body is that parts that are supposed to be acidic are too alkaline, and parts that are supposed to be alkaline are too acidic. For some of you, that should be mind-blowing right now. You're like, but the alkaline diet, people say alkaline is better all around. And you go, well, you kind of need stomach acid to like break down meat and protect you from food poisoning. You ever noticed how like people who don't, they kind of tend to eat vegan or vegetarian diets, they're often very susceptible to food poisoning? Because one of the things that they do is their body becomes too alkaline, which means their stomach becomes too alkaline. Oh, alkaline water. Let's drink alkaline water and put alkaline water right on our acidic stomach and just shut it down. Brilliant. Good idea. You keep doing that. I'm going to tell you, people are going to be like, alkaline water, but I thought that was good. They sell alkaline water in convenience stores now, along with the CBD and the cigarettes and the alcohol and the sugar. If you see something sold in a convenience store that's not like maybe a banana or an apple, it's probably garbage. By definition, you could pretty much almost go by that by definition. Convenience stores sell toxic garbage. And if you see alkaline water there and CBD there, do like cabbie, right? So that's about it for today. I got to go do my inner circle now out in the network. If y'all want to find more from me, down in the notes here, there's all my social media links and my link tree where you can find other things I've written in the past. And you can find me at nutritiondetective.com if you want to work with me or do the do-it-yourself Love Your Liver program. I want to be emphatic here. The Love Your Liver program by itself is a do-it-yourself program. You do not get access to me. If you want to work with me directly and get access to the office hours and the other stuff, that is the testing and consultation packages. Those are in the store. Those cost more because, I got to make a living and stuff. Okay. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed it today. Don't listen to the vitamin A and copper pushers. They're now out there trying to send people direct messages saying that I'm a charlatan. Ooh, gosh, I must have made up all of this research. Do you think I made it all up? Or do you think I just know how to search for it and find it and put it together? I'm going to go with the latter. So anyway, I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Hopefully I'll have a cool new video out this week. I'm not going to say I will. I did just do my lab work, so I'll have another video coming out on that soon. But anyway, have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye now.